Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. What do we got today, Rick?
We got our Week 13 starts and sits.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Dude, get that out of the mic.
I love the bubblies. I spent like 20 minutes talking about bubblies on the last show. Every time I shake this, the audio goes out. That's kind of what I'm getting at this point.
Okay, so note to self.
This should be a relatively interesting show. It doesn't ever change. I'm in the wrong show notes. But it is Week 13.
Last week of the regular
sits. Last week of the regular season for fantasy football. We didn't even talk about that on our last show when we said 13 for waiver wire sits.
Yeah.
Or waiver wire pickups, I should say. I said waiver wire sits. Me and Rick were watching the Pittsburgh Steelers game before, kind of, offhand, arguing about our fantasy teams and which one's better. You know what? I'm just going to put it on the screen now.
Uh-huh.
Which team do you think is better?
Oh, well, your team is better. I wasn't arguing that. I wasn't arguing that. Listen, I'd say Saquon Barkley.
Now he's backing down.
No,
but he wasn't
never,
backing down earlier.
No,
I never
once said his team was my team was better than his. I just said it was close. Like you're not.
Is it close?
You're not like defeating me by 100 points.
I might. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not defeating you. I might beat you by like 40.
No.
So
dude, we both didn't make the playoffs.
Couple
both
episodes
of our teams did not make the playoffs.
Couple episodes. Yeah, we both got eliminated. But a couple episodes ago, I was talking about. We were talking about our playoff odds and chances. Rick said that he just had to outscore me, but I wanted to give you a little more information on that. You didn't just have to outscore me. You had to outscore me by like 40.
No, it was 20.
It's not. It's
look
not.
At
I can pull it up right now.
Okay.
I can pull it up right now. It was not.
You guys are about to see. I look at it all the time, dude.
Is it because you're dwelling or?
Yes.
It's because he's dwelling.
I'm at 12-13.
You're at 12-13.
You're at 12-36.
I'm at 12-36, but I did outscore you by 10.
So that was before we played, though. So I was only down 23.
You were only down 23 before we played, but I did outscore you.
And then you outscored me this week.
I outscored you by 10.
So now it's 33.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? You would have had to outscore me. Do you know how highly unlikely that is?
It's not highly unlikely.
All right. Me and Rick are going for in the home league, we both were eliminated. We suck. We suck. Actually, we just got bitten by.
We both.
He got killed by the injuries. I got killed by my own stupidity. I hate kickers and defense. I really do.
Yeah. I mean,
they might be the worst.
That's the beauty of the luck, though, which is not a fan of yours.
Yeah,
luck.
True. So today we got Week 13 starts and sits, as I said earlier. Before we continue talking about anything else, check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChamps, on Instagram at thefantasychampions. Like us at facebook.com/fantasypants. Fantasy Champions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, what should they do, Rick?
Follow us.
No, subscribe.
Right? Subscribe. Yeah.
Not paying attention at all. Leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Subscriptions, the best way to support the show. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe. It's easy.
Yeah, do that.
I'd like to go up by 6 million subscribers, but that's never going to happen.
Hopefully one day.
Hopefully one day. Click the bell for notifications, like and comment down below. So let's jump right in.
I just want to make a quick note. Our teams are bad in the home league, yes, but I went 7-1 3 straight weeks.
Home league. I reject that.
Or 2 of the last 3 weeks across my leagues. He's very good in most leagues that he's in as well. So just because we stink in our home league
doesn't mean he says stink, but like
you missed the playoffs. You stink.
Like I'm okay.
You missed the playoffs.
I'm okay.
Camera's not even gonna focus.
It's not even gonna focus. It's all right.
You missed the playoffs. You stink. It's okay. Just come on. You can say it. I stink.
But I picked up the Chiefs D for the week.
I can't get to him.
I'm making a concerted...
What I'm trying to say though is we're good in most leagues.
We actually know what we're doing.
I was talking to somebody about stakes.
I was talking about to somebody.
Or at least make the championship.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and it's funny because being a fantasy analyst and actual performances in fantasy football are like two entirely separate things.
I don't think it really totally is for me. I think it's just the home league we have bad luck.
But like we give examples of random players. Like we're gonna give you starts and sits today, of just players that we think you should start and players we think you should sit. Sometimes we're right on that. Sometimes we're wrong. But we don't get perfect teams.
No,
these are not decisions that I'm making at all this week.
I don't usually
besides
don't make
Justin
any
Herbert, but I'm probably just gonna start.
Usually,
him in the
most
home
of the stuff we talk about with starts and sits, I never ever make those decisions on my team. So
no, it's true. But usually like draft information, that's definitely something that's like highly.
I mean, we had fantastic drafts in our home league. We were just talking about
this is not for us to brag, by the way.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying you displayed
one
how bad our teams were.
misstep, and your season's in the garbage can.
Like taking Saquon Barkley second overall.
If you were a success in fantasy football after taking Saquon, I think that's
round of applause.
He won 5 in games. I mean, that's impressive.
Oh, yeah. My RB2 also missed half the season, Joe Mixon, and my RB3 missed half the season in Myles Gaskin.
Who did you trade for Joe Mixon?
You don't have to talk about that.
All right, so let's start.
Before the season started. Okay, before the season started. It wasn't a bad deal. It was a first-round pick for a second-round pick. Right, in theory, that's a good deal.
Yeah, but you traded like the wide receiver 4 or 5 away.
We don't have to talk about it.
Okay. So let's start with our week 13 starts and sits. This should be a really interesting one. But I'm kind of. We'll start with the start because I'm kind of confused on whether or not I should feel this way. Me and Rick were talking about how Taysom Hill is just not a great quarterback in real life.
He's Tim Tebow.
He really is kind of like Tim Tebow, but man, he is so good with fantasy because he scored
rushing touchdowns.
2 rushing touchdowns. He's not thrown a passing touchdown in his career.
You think it changes this
Actually,
week?
that might be a lie.
No, he's had one in his career, I think.
Passing touchdown?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The way the Saints use him, I don't know that for a fact at all, but
he has plenty of rushing touchdowns, that's for sure. I mean, I can look. But anyway, I had no interest. Taysom Hill against the Atlanta Falcons. Like we said, for regular football purposes, probably not the best choice for the Saints. I'm also going to throw this in. If the Saints end up moving on from Taysom or switching quarterbacks to Jameis Winston, and they decide to make Jameis the starter this week for whatever reason, then start Jameis Winston too. But either way, Taysom Hill, I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be Taysom. Taysom Hill starting against the Atlanta Falcons. It's one of the easiest matchups he can get. Atlanta did have a good week matchup-wise last week. Like, yes. Not matchup-wise, but just performance-wise, defensively, they had a decent week.
Who did they play? Oh, yeah, they played against the Raiders and shut them out.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that should be a concern, but it's the New Orleans Saints offense is generally going to be good. Taysom Hill going up against Atlanta. Atlanta has given up. Oh, shoot, wrong tab.
It's in the top. It was number 1, but because of the last week, I think it's still top 3, though. They're still one of the 3 worst defenses in the league.
Yeah, they give up 24 fantasy points per game to the quarterback position. So, yeah, I would...
Which is second most in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would start Taysom Hill because, again, we were talking trash on him. But, by the way, he does not have a career touchdown pass. I think that changes this week, though, against Atlanta. I'm calling it right now.
He started Michael 2 Thomas. Games in the NFL, and he still hasn't thrown a touchdown pass.
Michael Thomas or Jared Cook is going to catch a touchdown this week against Atlanta. I'm calling it right now. But... it's against Atlanta. He had 23 points last time they played. Mm-hmm. I think he had a rushing touchdown and maybe 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he was rushing all over the place. He still threw for like 100 or 200 yards as well.
Yeah.
I think if you're streaming guys or you're kind of not sure who to start this week at quarterback, Taysom Hill's a good play. I think against Atlanta, he's like, to me, I think he's going to get 20 points. And even if he doesn't, he has a very good floor because of how he rushes the ball, like we were saying. So he's a good start.
Okay. Sit of the week at quarterback. This is a tough one because Herbs has been one of my favorite quarterbacks.
I know, this one surprised me.
He's been a QB. He's been like a QB3 through the time he's been a starter, I think.
Yeah, up there. QB4, I think.
Maybe something like that. But anyway, he's going up against New England, and New England literally shut down probably one of the best fantasy scorers of the season in Kyler Murray last week and held him to 8 points. I don't know that Herbert's going to score that low because he's not as reliant on his legs.
Yep.
But I would say that it is going to be an extremely tough matchup for Herbert. And if you are looking for a win to get into the playoffs this week, I would for sure sit Justin Herbert for somebody else Like, it hurts my soul to even say Taysom Hill, but somebody on the waiver wire or as a streaming option.
That does hurt my soul.
My fantasy like intellect is telling me, no, that's not a good idea. But then it's like, it's not a good matchup, bro.
Taysom Hill would be an interesting one, but definitely like Tannehill. If you went Ryan Tannehill, like that's a common backup quarterback in your fantasy league. I think he is someone that I would start over Justin Herbert this week. Herbert had 15 last week against Buffalo. Yeah, which Buffalo has not had a bad defense this year, but
hasn't been great.
Hasn't been great, and against a team like the Patriots, who have definitely struggled at times this year on defense, are still very good against the pass, are still very good against quarterbacks, and are still very historically extremely good against rookie quarterbacks. So Justin Herbert, I don't think he's going to be that bad this week because he's still as talented as he is. Yeah. But the way the Patriots play the game as well, and they kind of control the clock and run the football, I don't see Herbert going out and getting 30-something fantasy points this week. I mean, if he does, then dude's like the QB.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm in love with the man,
all in. All in.
But yeah, I really don't think Herbert's going to do that this week against the Patriots. If I was a betting man, I'd probably say he's going to get under 20 points this week.
I would agree.
Okay.
I wanted to say, I don't know if I said this already, but he's playing the New England Patriots. New England has given up 17 fantasy points a game to the quarterback position. The only reason why that is as lopsided as it is because Deshaun Watson at 37 a couple weeks ago.
That's true.
Well, last week.
Something, yeah.
So, yeah, those are the guys that we would start at quarterback. Let's move to running back. We don't have a lot of time because I wasted 6 minutes before this podcast started on my camera life.
Okay.
So, anyway. So, at running back, we have Raheem Mostert. Give me your thoughts on that.
Dude, Mostert actually, and I was surprised, he was pretty good against, who did they play this past week? The Rams, who have a very good run defense. Yeah. And he looked really good. I think he's 100% healthy now that he's back from IR. And he's going to be getting a lot of the work. Obviously, with Nick Mullins as quarterback, even with Garoppolo as quarterback, they like to run the ball a lot, but with Nick Mullins especially. And against Buffalo, which is a favorable matchup, this could be a real big week for Mostert. And if you're trying to get into the playoffs this week and you've been hanging on to him and he's been in your IR spot.
I don't know who did that. It's been a long time.
I don't know. He's a very good player.
Mostert?
Yeah, dude.
No, I know he's fantastic, but my God.
Are you saying you wouldn't hold on to him?
I probably would have I guess he's one of those guys that accidentally just sent a GIF in our home league. Stupid sleeper. Stupid sleeper, you're killing me. I don't know if you put GIFs in, if you use Sleeper, if you put, type in a GIF and then you click on it, it just posts it right away. It doesn't really give you an option to review it. So Sleeper, if you're listening, please don't let that be.
I say he was very good this week. He had 2.7 yards of carry, but he did get a touchdown.
Yeah. I would, who do you play?
I said the Rams, bro. Are you listening?
Oh, no, I'm not listening at all. No, but anyway, for Raheem Mostert, I don't know what I was talking about with him. I guess if you held on to him on your IR slot, you got a gem late season, maybe. But I don't know if that's even a gem with 2.7 yards of carry. But anyway, I think he's a good matchup this week against Buffalo. Buffalo has not been great against the running back position, giving up a total of, I want to say, 19 points a game to the running back position. So, I don't know what the splits are with McKinnon and all that. Does he get most of the work?
He gets most of the work, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I would say he's going to get about 14 or 15 fantasy points this week. I think that would be a good bet. I agree. And to start him this week, especially when you need a win, would be a wise decision.
Honestly, with how weak the running back position is, Mostert's like a low-end RB1, high-end RB2, the way he's played this year. If you look at his numbers, he gets he had 21, 17, he had a 13, and then 8 and 9. That's for the way running backs have been this year, that's like a low or high-end RB2, so you might really have gotten a gem if you kept him on your team. Will you stop sending gems? He's sitting there sending messages to the home league. Right now.
I'm trying. The sit of the week at running back is Kenyon Drake or Chase Edmonds, either or, because they essentially get the same amount of fantasy points split in half.
Yeah,
at this point. Really. So I think for Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, they're both playing at Los Angeles. It's going to be a really tough matchup. I know Drake has been decent the last couple weeks, and Edmonds has shown signs of life, but I just don't think it's a safe matchup. The Los Angeles Rams have given up a total of 14 fantasy points to the running back position, and if you split that in half, in case you can't do math, that's 7.5 points. That's not going to get you a dub.
I think 7.5 would be 15 actually.
14
in case you can't do math.
14.9.
Okay, all right, fine.
You want me to do the exact math?
No, we don't have to do that.
You can do that. Tell me exact number.
Of what?
14.9.
That's 7.5.
Oh, stop it. Stop. I don't know.
Anyway, Kenyon Drake. Yeah, he actually has had a couple good weeks. He had 2 touchdowns last week. 22 fantasy points on 22 carries, but still hasn't he had 2.6 yards per carry in week 11, and then 3.5 yards carry the last 2 weeks. So it hasn't been amazing. And I know Mostert did good against the Rams, but he had 2.7 yards per carry. So if Drake does that, I really don't see him getting a big week.
If they don't.
And then Chase Edmonds will have a floor of 7-8 points because of the passing game, but that's I think about what he's gonna do. So I wouldn't. If you have other options, I would definitely sit both of these guys.
Talk about your start of the week at wide receiver. Your guy.
See, I love how you pin this on me because I do this all the time.
I will always pin it on you.
Devontae Parker, baby. Woo! Yeah.
You can have all of this one. I will say, before you start talking about it, Cincinnati has given up a total of 25 points a game to the wide receiver position,
which
is like middle of the pack.
Blows. Devontae Parker, this is the Tua revenge game, first of all. Tua's going to come back with vengeance
if he plays.
If he doesn't play, that's even better because Ryan Fitzpatrick threw the ball to Devontae Parker 14 times this past week. 14 targets. He had I think he had 11 catches. I don't know, 8 catches. 8 catches is still very good.
Oh, I saw that number. It's garbage.
8 catches for 119 yards though.
8 catches for 119 yards is very good, and a
very
touchdown.
Good?
That's very good. I'm talking about the percentage at which he caught the ball.
Yeah, that's not great. But
it's like almost.
I wonder
50%.
what his true catch percentage is though.
I can look it up.
You can if you want. I'm not gonna. But yeah, he's had 15 points though, 2 back-to-back weeks, and then he's playing against Cincinnati this week, as Morgan said, which is not a very good defense. And the way Cincinnati has been now without Burrow as well, I really don't see it being a crazy. It'll be competitive for at least the beginning of the game, but I think this game is going to go to Miami. So
catch rate 65.8%, catchable target rate 78%, only 62%. I mean, only 62 of his 100-something targets have been 79. Sorry, he only has 79 targets. 62 of his 79 targets have been catchable.
So, I mean, that's not really his fault.
Making his true catch rate a grand total of 83.9.
Which is pretty solid. I think. I actually don't know. But it sounds solid. But yeah, no, Devontae Parker, he's the wide receiver one. I think Preston Williams is still injured as well, so he should really get all of the targets in that offense against a team that has just not been able to shut down star receivers all year long. So
yeah.
I think Parker's going to get a good amount of targets, and if you're looking to start a wide receiver, and you can't decide like for who am I going to start as my wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 this week, I think Parker should be an option.
Okay. Let's talk about our sit running back. I didn't really say much on Devontae Parker because I'm not celebratory on it. I don't care. It's a good start. I'll say that.
You wanted to do Sterling Shepard, and that was our guy, but
yeah, Daniel Jones he's probably not going to play. So our sit of the week at wide receiver. This is a really, really, really tough one.
Yeah.
And I only say this. I
100% agree with this take.
I only say this, and last week this player had 20 fantasy points.
He had a great week.
And half PPR. He had a great week.
But it was one great play that pushed him over the edge.
It's Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering, Amari Cooper. So he had, according to you, he had one great play that pushed him over the edge. I don't know what that play was.
It was like a 50-yard touchdown. He was still good without it, but
a 54-yard score.
54-yard touchdown.
So that's 11 fantasy points, which means he would have finished with 9.
Yeah, so he still would have had an okay week, but that pushed him into that.
So against Baltimore has just been very, very good against the wide receivers. You have CeeDee Lamb, you have Michael Gallup, you have Amari Cooper there. They only give up 17 fantasy points total to the wide receiver position, so unless Amari Cooper is getting out there and scoring 10 of those, it's going to be really, really, really tough for Amari Cooper to perform at the level that you would anticipate for him, especially if you're starting him expecting him to get 20 points.
Right.
So I would sit him just for this week. I mean, his playoff schedule is okay. So I mean, I'm not completely just being like, okay, I'm putting Amari Cooper in a box, but I think that he is definitely a decent, or not a decent, but a bad start this week. So I would sit him most definitely against Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what not the targets were, but the catch percentage was for the team. Yeah, he had 6 catches, which is good. But if you take out that one, he would have had 5 catches for like 40 or like 50, 60 yards, something like that. Which is okay. But CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and even Dalton Schultz all had about the same amount of catches as him.
Yeah.
If that happens against the Ravens, he's not going to get 20 fantasy
I
points.
like your Google search for stats.
I usually have.
You literally
fantasy
just
pros
pull
up,
up the Google.
if I want
Google stat sheet.
if I'm looking for something basic, yeah, because it's easy. Okay. But if I'm looking for like targets and stuff,
I'm over here like deep diving into Player Profiler for advanced analytics.
I asked you to do that though. But yeah, no, Amari Cooper though, like against Baltimore, he's been so up and down all year.
Yeah.
And with Andy Dalton as quarterback, I really don't trust him anyway. And against Baltimore, a team that has been so good against wide receivers, has really shut down superstar players as well all season. I just am not trying to start Amari Cooper at all. If I owned him in a league, I honestly would bench him in most of my leagues.
Wow.
So I don't think this is a bad idea at all. When I saw you did put him on the list, but when I saw that, I was like, I really like that one.
Cool.
So.
All right. So you get 15 seconds on the start. I get 15 seconds on the sit at tight end because tight ends don't matter.
Okay, our start of the week at tight end is Jonnu Smith.
He had a terrible game last week.
He had a terrible game and not even sure if he's going to play. But if he does play, it's a bounce back week, right? He's had a terrible week against Cleveland, the team that has struggled against tight ends. And I think they're going to try to get him involved a little more this week since they haven't been doing that last few weeks. And I have a feeling this might be a good passing game for Ryan Tannehill. So if that's the case, Jonnu might have himself a week.
Sit Jonnu.
Dude, you ruined
Start
the whole take.
Jonnu Smith. Sit Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would sit him this week. It's not going to be an easy matchup. Yeah. Pittsburgh is number 1. They passed the Colts and the 49ers for number 1 tight end stopping defense. Number 4 fantasy points for the tight end position per game. So I would sit Logan Thomas if you have him and you're contemplating starting him. But that'll do it, my friends, for the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
Nicely done.
Tight ends are always the fastest. I love the tight end position.
It's just the name.
Yeah, it's true. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Tomorrow we got the news, so we'll talk to you tomorrow. Fantasy Champs.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.